You're 19, living in a studio apartment that smells like mold and broken promises. Your college fund evaporated when your dad's construction company went belly up after some billionaire developer stiffed him on a $200,000 contract. Your old man drank himself into an early grave, chasing that money through a legal system designed to protect people who can afford better lawyers than you can afford groceries. You're working the graveyard shift at a luxury hotel downtown, scrubbing toilets for guests who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. One night, you're cleaning the penthouse suite when you find it. Blood. Not a lot. Just drops on Italian marble that costs more per square foot than your entire year's salary. There's also a shattered champagne glass and a woman's earring under the bed. You know the protocol. Call your supervisor. File a report. Let management handle it. But before you can reach for your radio, a man in a $10,000 suit walks in. He doesn't look surprised to see you. He looks like he was expecting you. He introduces himself as Marcus. He places 5 crisp $100 bills on the counter and says 6 words that change everything. You didn't see anything here, right? You stare at that money. It's half your monthly rent. Your electricity got shut off yesterday. You tell yourself it's just blood from a broken glass. Probably nothing. You pocket the cash and bleach that marble until it's cleaner than a surgical suite. You convince yourself you just got lucky. Marcus calls you 3 days later. Private number. He's got another job. A banker's son crashed his Maserati into a street vendor's cart at 3 a.m., coked out of his mind. The vendor's in the hospital with a shattered pelvis. The car is currently hidden in a private garage, front end crumpled, covered in evidence. Your job? Make it disappear. The pay? $2,000 cash. You try to say no. You really do. But then Marcus mentions the hospital bills are being covered. The vendor's getting a mysterious $50,000 settlement. And honestly, wouldn't everyone be better off if this rich kid doesn't get a criminal record over one stupid mistake? You're not hurting anyone. You're actually helping. That's what you tell yourself as you strip that Maserati down to parts in 6 hours flat, using skills your dad taught you back when he still believed hard work meant something. The money hits different when you're not living on ramen. You pay off your credit cards. You sleep without that gnawing anxiety eating your guts. Marcus keeps calling. The jobs get bigger. You're cleaning up after Wall Street cocaine parties where someone OD'd. You're making DUI evidence vanish before it reaches the lab. You're erasing digital footprints of married senators who got caught with their pants down in very illegal situations. You get good. Disturbingly good. You learn chemistry to neutralize forensic evidence. You study law to know exactly which loopholes to exploit. You master data encryption to scrub hard drives cleaner than factory reset. Within 2 years, you're Marcus's top cleaner, pulling in $300,000 annually. Tax-free, of course. That's when you get the call that changes the game. An oil company executive's helicopter dumped 4,000 gallons of toxic waste into a protected wetland to avoid proper disposal fees. It's cheaper to break the law and hire you than to follow it. Dead birds everywhere. Poisoned water supply for a small town. Your job is to manufacture a cover story, bribe the right inspectors, and make the environmental report disappear. The pay? $500,000. You stand in that wetland, watching a dead heron floating in oily water, and something inside you cracks. You're not helping anymore. You're not cleaning up rich kids' mistakes. You're enabling genocide in slow motion. But you take the job anyway, because $500,000 is enough to finally feel safe. To build the life your dad never could. You execute it perfectly. The inspectors get their cut, the reports get buried, the news cycle moves on, the company's stock actually goes up. And that town? They're drinking bottled water now, wondering why their cancer rates tripled. But hey, you bought your mom a house, so it evens out, right? You're 25 when Marcus introduces you to the client. No name, just a voice on an encrypted line. Presidential level wealth. He's got a problem. A journalist found evidence linking him to an international child trafficking operation. The journalist is about to publish. The client doesn't want the journalist hurt. He just wants the evidence to vanish and the journalist's credibility destroyed. The fee? $2 million. You spend 3 days staring at that journalist's photo. She's 32, 2 kids. She's been working this story for 4 years. If you take this job, you're not just cleaning up a crime. You're enabling it to continue. You'd be condemning dozens, maybe hundreds of children to hell on earth. For the first time since you pocketed those first 5 $100 bills, you say, no. Marcus goes quiet on the line. Then he says something that turns your blood to ice. You know too much. You've always known too much. The only reason you're alive is because you're useful. Stop being useful, and you become a liability. Liabilities get cleaned up too. That's when you understand the real game. You're not a cleaner, you're evidence. You're the guy who knows where all the bodies are buried because you're the one who buried them. You thought you were building power, but you were really just building your own coffin. You take the job. You destroy that journalist's life. You watch her get fired, divorced, discredited. The story dies. The trafficking continues. You collect your $2 million and realize it's blood money in the most literal sense. You're not cleaning up crimes anymore. You are the crime. You're 28 now, sitting in a penthouse you bought with money soaked in suffering. You've got everything your dad never had. Security, respect, power. But every night, you dream about that dead heron, that journalist's kids, the vendor with the shattered pelvis, the town drinking poisoned water. You finally understand what your dad knew before he drank himself to death. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. The rich don't live by different rules. They live in a different reality entirely. One where consequences are just another expense. Where justice is a product they can choose not to purchase. And you? You're not the cleaner. You're the product. You're what happens when desperation meets opportunity in a world where morality is a luxury only the poor are expected to afford. The real crime isn't what you clean up. It's that someone has to. That's all for today. This story is fiction, but I guarantee someone right now is making this exact choice. If this hit you different, drop a comment about which moment landed hardest. I've got more dark truths coming your way, so smash that subscribe button. See you in the next one.